finally tonight, one man's flight from depression has written a new page in Australian aviation history.
A once-in-a-lifetime adventure. Jerry Farsoun touched down in St Kilda after becoming the first person to circumnavigate mainland Australia in a parachute.
He spent 7 months and 12,000 kilometres flying in a motorised parachute right around Australia. Jerry Farsoun took to the skies earlier this year to raise awareness of depression.
The 38-year-old was greeted by a group of supporters, including broadcaster Darren Hinch.
The point that I'm making is that if you believe that you can't recover, you can't get help, you can't feel good, you can't feel fantastic, you can't recover from depression, you're wrong.
Didn't think he'd make it, Koshy, but he did it. And one-man band, no support group, just Jerry in this contraption all around Australia. I think it's I'm a great sceptic, but I thought it was a fantastic effort what he's done.
G'day. Time is 5:42 a.m. We're in Cranbourne. This is the last time I'm going to see this place for at least a year. And so, let's kiss the little machine, make sure she goes all the way around uninterrupted. A little bit nervous.
Okay. So why are you a little bit nervous?
Oh, you know, it's been a year in the making. I hope I'm doing something great. I hope my idea actually works. I was supposed to fly in March, which was pretty much a year after, the anniversary after my attempt at suicide. But due to weather and finances, I couldn't leave, and it turned out that I left on the 4th of May. It was probably one of the hardest days of my life. Seeing a dozen or so people there, specifically my mother, who was on an oxygen bottle. So she had no hair, she lost her hair from chemotherapy and the radiation, and she was there with an oxygen bottle because she had needed it to breathe.
He's waiting for you.
And just saying goodbye to her, I think a week before Mother's Day was really hard, and hoping that she'd be alive when I got back. And I just kept playing on that. I said, just stay alive till I get back. I want you to be proud of me making it back. And she was worried that I wasn't going to make it. In fact, a lot of people thought I was going to make it. Overdownunder started, it wasn't a planned thing, it just happened. It's one of those things, you get an idea for something and it's a fleeting idea, but then it just started growing legs. It was an idea initially out of my own experience, a suicide attempt in March 2007. I thought that I wanted to, what did I want to do with my life? And I wanted to buy an ultralight powered parachute, and it just has no structure, this story. It was just an organic experience. I just wanted to fly around Australia because I didn't want to be in the same spot. Leg one complete. Yeah. Don't know where I landed. So I left at 7:30. Got here at 2:30. So that's a total of 7 hours.
Where's she going to take it? Over there.
Today, Jerry flew up from Melbourne to Seymour in his kite.
I really had no idea what I was doing. I just thought I wanted to go out and do something for the community because there wasn't much out there for people that were, I guess, feeling depressed or feeling suicidal. Me flying around Australia was more of a non-celebrity approach to raising more awareness about it. Say go to Australia, Ken.
Hey, Australia, how you going?
We're going to have some. Actually, give us the repertoire of the menu for today's luncheon, sir.
Well, I think that we'll be having sausages, sirloin steak, onions, and maybe a few potato chips.
And a couple of sterlings to boot.
And a few sterling to boot, yeah.
I love that. Look at this, absolutely beautiful. Holbrook. It's really hard to work out which straw it was that broke the camel's back. But there were so many things happening at the same time, I wasn't able to recover. It was like being in a boxing ring and having three people hit you at the same time. And I couldn't tell you which punch was the one that brought me down, knocked me out. In 2005, I was bankrupted, so I was unable to rent a house. I tried that, so I was unable to find a place to live. My mother was diagnosed with cancer. She was given 6 weeks to live, 8 weeks to live. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a place to live. Everything was wrong. I was bankrupted. There was no area of my life that was actually functional. My entire life was dysfunctional. And it wasn't because I planned it that way. I just naturally assumed that, you'd go to work and you'd have a job and you'd save your money or you'd have a business. And things happen.
Okay, on a personal note, Mum's in hospital. She's saying her goodbyes. It's her 4th time cancer's kicked in. It's very hard to verbalise how I'm feeling without sounding like I'm writing something for you to be entertained by. If I stop now and head back there, she might not die for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, who knows how long. So she said, keep flying, she might be able to hang on. If I get in the air next week and head down towards Halls Creek and over to Broome and then down the west coast of Australia, I might get halfway down, I might get to Perth. I don't know. If I get to Perth, and she has a bad turn, I can jump on a plane from Perth and head straight over to Melbourne. I'll be there within a few hours. I'll be within a day. It's very difficult, but it's the best that I can do at this stage.
Life just wasn't going to give me a crack, wasn't going to give me a chance. So I found that staying at home, drinking, was just the way that I was going to spend a bit of time while the world got itself in order. Because I didn't think it was me. Every effort that I made seemed to just make it worse. I was mentally, emotionally, physically exhausted. My soul had literally been, it's like life had jumped on the chest of my soul and I couldn't breathe. I was exhausted. And yet I still managed to get up and go to the shop and buy a bottle of bourbon and come back home and drink it and fall asleep by 3 p.m. It was a pretty miserable couple of weeks to spend your life. So I guess when I got to a point, it was a Tuesday, I just decided that that was enough. I just thought, well, there's nothing I can do. So planned to get on my motorbike and ride it as fast as I can to the hardest, strongest wall as possible so I wouldn't feel anything. And I just thought about how it would be if I was the person that turned up to where I was and I was dead. How unfair it would be to see a person that died by their own hand. And I just thought it's not fair for that person. Someone would have to find me. Called the phone service and I spent an hour and a half telling the person on the phone what was going on, and she said to me, the girl on the phone, her name was Michelle, she said, Jerry, I feel suicidal just listening to you. I said, sorry? She goes, your story is really bad. And she goes, I don't know anyone that could endure what you endured. She goes, the fact that you're still here is amazing. She goes, there's nothing wrong with me. It's just what's happening around me. There are things that I can control and there are things that I can't control. I could control a lot of them, and the only thing that I couldn't control was Mum passing away. So I gave myself full credit for that and allowed myself to go, well, these are the things I need to get out of my life.
We were blindsided because there were no overt signs of depression, like the irritability, the shortness of temper, all that stuff. And alienating themselves from loved ones, whereas Jay was still socialising, he was pushing all those who really, really meant anything to him, he's just pushing us away, keeping us away But we couldn't see that because he hid it under the guise of going out of town for work. 16 days, my son went from the boy that we knew to a boy in a body bag. And that's the reality of it. And I can tell you now, as a parent, it's something you never want to see. Our family's just been destroyed. We deserve a chance to try and help.
I've been there a few years ago. I had a couple of tragedies over 8 or 10 week period, and I just put my hand up. I knew I needed counselling. I went straight into a counsellor in the area that I live, 3 to 4 sessions. It just turned my world around.
Come to terms with the reality of what was happening in that short time.
I was not coping well. And over a 4-week period, I turned my life around and was back on top where I felt good. It's always in the back of my mind if I ever get down that avenue again. First port of call, I'll just talk to my wife and then move on and go straight back to the counsellor.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with asking for help.
Yeah, been quite good, been great. The media response has been fantastic. People are talking more and more and more about depression and suicide prevention. And I think it's a very unusual way for people to just discuss things that they'd like to discuss.
Concept now is not to fly solo on unassisted to raise awareness of depression with an emphasis on suicide. I actually want to be more involved in the community. So I've got this project where I've purchased a bus. The bus is fully kitted out. So they've got an onboard TV and radio production and editing suite. I plan to fly one state per year, but this time take a crew member, take a crew with me to film a lot of it, but also to take somebody on each leg of the flight and get their story.
Oh my God, this is nuts! Allow it! Allow it!
My automatic response when something's not going right is going to beating myself up and going to depression. That's what I do. But I know now that it's not me. And instead of taking a year, 2 years to get out of that mode, it takes me an hour.
I was very fortunate to have sponsors come on board.
Finally made it to East Coast in Knoxville, here to pick up the bus, and the East Coast have donated the paint job, which has been fantastic, and as well as PPG, and we're here to pick it up, so let's go get it.
Good luck with it all.
Thank you. Thanks for getting time. No worries, Jerry.
I'm in the development of a smartphone app, which, will be ready in the next couple of months. And in that app, I'm using technology to help people with support resources. That every time I make a new short film on the topic bullying, depression or suicide, we'll push it out through the app.
Thank you very much. It was fantastic meeting you two lovely young people.
Yeah, we think the same. You put us in the picture now.
I've brought you into the new age.
Yeah, and listen, you've only got one problem in your life, and it's in between your ears.
I love
now,
that.
You've got to control that. Yeah. And look, man, you can do any bloody thing you want to do.
An educational database of videos that explains to people what Reiki is, what kinesiology is, what social work is, and counselling, and hypnotherapy, psychology, psychiatry, all different types of therapies out there. One of the short films that we made, which is Jump, talks about how the suicide is not reserved for crazy people or people that are mentally ill. Anyone can be affected by suicide. It was an attempt to reduce the stigma of suicide, and I'm hoping that those short films will teach people how to think differently about their situations. And that's the future for the short film side, that's the education, the database. And having the app allows people to get those resources at the tip of their fingertips.
G'day. What's your experience of depression? Oh, mate, my experience of depression is waking up and not wanting to wake up.
Believe in yourself of who you are and what you are and not what's been said. You have to talk about the effects out loud to people.
The basic message I have with my friends who've got through depression is that it's okay to talk to people about it, to talk to myself about it if they want to, not to feel that they need to journey this on their own, because they don't.
Everyone, I think, has a uniqueness to offer. the community, and it is really up to us to try and make sure that we make room for that uniqueness to flourish, so that we learn from all these wonderful, beautiful eccentricities that people bring to community.
Anyway, the guy came down, we saw him for one day, and it was enough time, it was an intensive day, but it was enough time to actually show him what was causing his depression and what fixes it.
We need to discuss these issues. We need to talk and have a conversation.
We have to do something about it because life is too rich and special, and we get this one crack at it.